Hey y'all! Pokemon Crystal using only one Mantine was a lot of fun, despite being a little difficult at times. Let's follow that up with a Pokemon run that is sure to kick Jurassic. This week, let's see if we can beat Pokemon Red using only one Aerodactyl. As usual, the rules are I can only use Aerodactyl in battle, and I can't use any items in battle. By the way, if you like this kind of content and want to see more, be sure to subscribe and check out more of these videos on my channel. Aerodactyl is a Pokemon best known for being an antagonistic fossil that screams at the top of its lungs. In fact, it was so much of an instigator that it caused Ash's Charmeleon to evolve into a Charizard purely out of spite. Sounds like my ex-girlfriend. In terms of the actual stats, they're pretty great. The bulk is okay, I guess, but the attack is good and the speed is fantastic. Mwah. The moveset's kinda weird though. Not a lot of options, and while a move like Fire Blast might seem awesome, remember, we've only got 60 base special. But hey, at least we get Hyper Beam, right? That's like the best move in this entire game. Alright, let's do this, y'all. Off at Professor Oak's lab, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Charmander with Aerodactyl so that our rival will pick Squirtle. By the end of the game, the rival will have a Blastoise that will be pretty hard for us to take down without getting smashed with super effective moves. Aerodactyl is a dino known for flying through the skies, so I nicknamed ours Dinosaur. Honorable mentions also included but I couldn't fit all the A's. Aerodactyl starts off with just Wing Attack and Agility. Wing Attack is not a bad move to start off with, since there's lots of bug types early on, but it's all we're stuck with until Supersonic at level 33. So we've got to beat Brock with just Wing Attack basically. First battle with Bubs is easy, but I already know we're in trouble, and as soon as we walk into the gym, you know it's about to go down. I'm finally taking on Brock's Rocks, and while we're only at level 9, we get pretty far, thanks mostly to the amount of critical hits that Aerodactyl gets. Aerodactyl is tied with Jolteon for the second highest base speed behind Electrode, which means that Aerodactyl is tied for the second highest critical hit ratio in the game. Critical hits in this game, of course, are proportional to base speed, a mechanic that's almost as old as Aerodactyl. Despite the amount of critical hits though, we're still not strong enough to win, so I head over to the Pewter City Museum to consult with the wisdom of our ancestors. Sadly though, Grandpa Dactyl is not able to help us, because he's dead. I grind some bones and head back to the gym. At level 14, we're finally on even footing. We get to the Onyx with most of our health, and thankfully, we're able to dodge the effects of Bide by using Agility. But don't worry haters, Agility doesn't give any badge boosts yet. Yeah, and don't be mad. You already know at this point that badge boosts in this game are as inevitable as a meteor. After getting the badge and traversing Mount Moon, we head to take on the rival Bubs in Cerulean City. We're still just chilling out here with Wing Attack and Agility, so I guess it's like they say, it's hard to teach an old pterosaur new tricks. Pudgeotto goes down easy, and despite the opportunity to set up free attack badge boost against the Abra, I continue to attack mercilessly with our wingy little slaps. Don't worry though, while Bubs was easy, Misty was horrendous! Not a shot in the dark we're ready for that kind of heat just yet. So instead, after beating the rival Bubs, I head to the SSN to take on the rival Bubs. Been a while since we had a back-to-back Bub battle. It's basically the same fight as before, but his Pokemon are slightly stronger. So much like the difference between a Brontosaurus and a Brachiosaurus. Well, in the sense that I don't know what those are, so I can't tell the difference. Also, I'm gonna need Wartortle to get those little earwings out of here. There's only enough room for one wing-based reptile on this boat. With Bubs beaten, I'm off to finally take on Misty for the Cascade badge. This whole battle is just a flip of the coin. Does Misty use Bubble Beam? If yes, then we lose. Does Misty instead decide to be a complete dunderhead? Well, then we win. Hooray! Okay, so next up is a rival battle with Bubs in Lavender Town, and although we're almost level 30, we're still rocking out with just Wing Attack and Agility. Gotta love that Game Freak design. Like waiting for Dinosaur Jelly to turn into Petroleum, it feels like we've been waiting an entire epoch just to learn a new move. At least with Agility we can badge boost our attack a little, but we're talking crumbs, people. Also, shout out to the fact that we're fighting Bubs in a gravesite using a resurrected fossil. Cheers to playing God, everyone. After beating Bubs, we head on over to clash with Erica at the Celadon City Gym. She's got a bunch of grass Pokemon, but even so, she puts up more of a fight than the Dodo Bird at least. That's because Wing Attack is so weak that her Pokemon get to attack with strong neutral grass moves. Also near Celadon City is the HM for Fly, which is a stronger flying move, but I'm hesitant to teach it yet because there's no way to delete HM moves once you teach them in this game. Much like a mass extinction, there's no coming back from it. After eking past Erica, I head into the Team Rocket game corner to take on Giovanni. Still rocking out with the same moves, but despite our titanic disadvantage, we still managed to beat him. This is thanks to a combination of Aerodactyl landing lots of critical hits, and Giovanni being dumber than Dino Dung. The important takeaway is that at the end of this battle, we finally learn another move. And it's Supersonic. That's pretty Sonic, but not so super. Can't we just get a halfway decent move, please? And at this point, I remembered that Aerodactyl can learn the TM for Swift, which you can get once you reach Lavender Town, so I should have gotten that a long time ago. I go and grab it really quick, and then mosey on back to Vermilion City to beat up Lieutenant Surge. And you can see that now that we have a halfway decent move, Lieutenant Loser rejoins his rightful place in the dumpster. Man, I get so sad anytime Lieutenant Surge is a problem in one of these challenges. Turns out, just needed a good move. Normally the rival fight with Bubs in the Sylph Company building is a much later fight in these runs, but it's actually the next easiest battle for Aerodactyl at this point. That's not to say it's easy, of course. He's still got an Alakazam and a Blastoise after all. Agility allows us to outspeed the Alakazam, and you can see the critical hits coming in hot. Even so, the Blastoise is very bulky, and we can't get past it without Supersonic. Thank goodness I've trained this highly sophisticated pterosaur to shriek at turtles until they hit themselves in the face. All those hours in the woods really paid off. At least the battle afterwards with Giovanni is easier. Before, he at least had an Onix with Rock Throw, which was a super effective, albeit highly inaccurate move. Now though, he doesn't have a single move that Aerodactyl doesn't resist. So we're just chilling here and rocking out with our birdie boy, and there's nothing Giovanni can do about it. Just like there was nothing the dinosaurs could do about that meteor. At this point, I think it's our best bet to take on Sabrina at the Saffron City Gym because her Pokemon all have pretty low defense stats. Granted, Aerodactyl has pretty low special, but that doesn't matter if her Pokemon never get a chance to attack. Kinda like how a T-Rex can't reach enemies with its tiny arms, but who needs arms when you can Dino Stomp your foes into the ground? That's called getting Tyrannosaurus wrecked. Speaking of dinosaur decimation, it's time to take on Koga at the Fuchsia City Gym, but this time, things are different. After gathering and selling all the items I could, I finally had enough money to buy enough coins at the game corner to exchange for the TM for Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam is, talons down, the best move Aerodactyl gets in this entire game. It's super strong, with the downside of course that it takes a recharge turn. However, in this game's spaghetti code, Hyper Beam skips the recharge turn if it lands a knockout. Aerodactyl's fast, meaning that it moves first, and with its high attack combined with its high critical hit ratio, that happens kind of a lot. Now that we have Koga's badge, we can surf on over to the Cinnabar Island Gym to take on Blaine the Fire-type gym leader, or as I like to call him, Baldilocks. Agility is nice here to help badge boost our attack just a little bit, and give Hyper Beam as much chutzpah as possible. Remember, we want knockouts. Even when we don't one-hit KO, the Arcanine goes for Ember, which even if it burns won't make a difference. Whew, Aerodactyl sure can be scary, man. You could even call it a Terrordactyl? Huh? The final gym battle with Giovanni in the Viridian City Gym is the last chance for him to redeem himself, but he falls flat on his frumpy butt. And we gave him every opportunity to do something, but he just bibbity-bobbity booped it right up. Right away we go for 3 agility and then go for the much weaker wing attack. We're trying to get as many badge boosts as possible, so I'm giving Rhyhorn more opportunities to lower our defense with Tail Whip. For those that might not know, every time our stats are modified, either up or down, the stat boosts that we get from badges are reapplied. Although it ended up not mattering here, because we level up after knocking out the Rhyhorn, which resets all of our additional badge boosts. Even so, once the Rhyhorn goes down, it's bombs away with the Hyper Beams, baby! The bad news is that Rhydon is so bulky that Hyper Beam doesn't do much damage. But the good news is that Rhydon sucks. It will randomly pick between moves, often using Horn Drill and Fissure, but we're doubly immune. Firstly, because 1-hit KO moves always fail against a faster Pokemon, and secondly, because Fissure is a ground type move, and we're a friggin' flying type, buddy.
Alright, that's it, Giovanni. Hand in your badge. You're off the force.
With 8 gym badges in hand, the only thing standing between us and the Elite Four is another rival battle with Bubs. Aerodactyl continues to impress with its damage output. Remember that thing we did against Giovanni's Rhyhorn? Yeah, we're doing the same thing against Bubs' Rhyhorn. The idea really is to have enough raw firepower to one-hit KO the Blastoise, but even when we don't, Bubs' Smart AI will sometimes spam Withdraw because it's a water-type move. But at that point, it's already too late. You can't stop the Dactyl Express once it's off the rails, baby! Alright, here are the stats going into the Elite Four. The attack and speed are just incredible, and we're at a pretty low level too. But not all is hunky-dory in the House of Dactyl party, people. First up is the Elite Four member Lorelai, the Ice and Water type trainer. She is notorious for being a huge problem for Fire, Ground, and Rock type Pokemon in these challenge runs, and for good reason. If we could learn Rock Slide, then maybe we'd stand a chance, but for now, I can't even get past the dang Cloyster. Nothing left to do but level up and try again, which is really sad. 8 levels later, I'm back, and finally, we're able to make some progress. It's still not easy, and we have to rely pretty heavily on Supersonic to buy turns with confusion. But you know what they say, Jurassic times call for Jurassic measures. Listen, I know these jokes are rough, but nothing really Triceratops a good pun in my book. Anyways, despite the extra levels, and despite confusion helping us out, this battle is still pretty awful. And it takes like an hour before I finally get the dub. Slowbro has Water Gun, Jinx has Ice Punch, and Lapras has Hydro Pump and Blizzard. Not to mention that our Supersonic and Hyper Beam can both miss, so things don't exactly go smoothly every time. Like a dozen times I got to Lapras just for it to survive a Hyper Beam and then knock us out with Blizzard. This footage might make it look easy, but like a Brontosaurus of the Sauriskian classification, this one was one tall order. After Lorelai is Bruno. I use a rare candy to reset our experience since I'll be using badge boost in this battle, and I want to prevent leveling up during the battle since that would reset our badge boost. One of the downsides to using Aerodactyl is that it really just wants to spam Hyper Beam, and even with maximum PP ups, it only gets 8 uses per battle. So you better be stocked up on ethers and elixirs before you walk into the Elite Four's chambers. As for the actual battle, it's pretty crazy what happens here. Bruno's Onix both have Rock Throw, which can do decent damage despite its inaccuracy thanks to our weakness to Rock. So I still want to use Supersonic to try to prevent Aerodactyl from taking too much damage, and you'll see why later. Also, if we wanted more badge boost here, we theoretically could teach Mimic to Aerodactyl and copy Harden from the Onix, but remember that critical hits ignore all stat modifiers in this game, and we crit often enough that it's not really worth the time that it takes. You'll also see in this battle just how often Hyper Beam can choose to miss, and I know that the game isn't actually sentient, but sometimes it sure does feel like it's got a personal vendetta against me. At the end of the battle, we almost lose, since for once, Bruno actually uses Submission. This brings us super low on health, but rather than knock us out with another, he whiffs his one chance at glory on a Focus Energy, which is a move that literally does the opposite of what it's supposed to in this game. Thanks as always, Spaghetti Code! After talking about Bruno, next up is Agatha, and goodness gracious how I wish we had a move like Rock Slide or Earthquake. Having to rely on Wing Attack to take out her ghost is just annoying as all Pokeballs. You might be thinking, again, why not just use Fly? Well, simply put, Fly sucks. It's a 2-turn move that's only 70 base power and has a 5% chance to miss. Wing Attack is weak, but it's also 35 base power, so exactly half as strong as Fly, but without the extra inaccuracy. So I'm almost always better off going for 2 Wing Attacks instead of 1 Fly. Better accuracy, better crit chance, Papa John's. Also, I feel no remorse spamming Supersonic against Agatha because that's kind of her whole deal, you know? I know you're supposed to turn the other cheek and all, but I'd rather clap those cheeks instead. Next up is the final Elite Four member, Lance. I make sure to heal up, restore all of our PP, and then use a rare candy to level up and reset our experience. Right away, I'm going to preface this by saying that this was such an awful battle. It reminded me a lot of trying to beat Lance with only a Charmander, because this whole thing comes down to not getting hosed by Gyarados' Hydro Pump. I can't just go firing off hyper beams all willy-nilly because the recharge turn will just give him another chance to Hydro Pump. Plus, the damage Gyarados does to itself in Confusion not only buys us turns to use Agility for badge boost, but also helps to put it within range of a Hyper Beam knockout so we don't have to recharge. The Dragonairs go down without a fight, but his own Aerodactyl uses our tactics against us, by also spamming Supersonic. So what's the solution? Our own Supersonic, of course. His Dragonite can survive even a badge boosted Hyper Beam, but as long as it doesn't critical hit its own Hyper Beam, then everything is dynamite! Finally, it's time to take on the champion, our rival Bubs. We use our Max Elixir to restore all of our BP, heal up, and then pop our last rare candy to reset our experience so we don't level up during this battle. In hindsight, I should have just used all of our rare candies for the sake of extra stats, but I wanted to prove that Aerodactyl could win at this level, and I'm a bit of a stubborn old goat. While setting up badge boost on Bubs' Pidgeot, we take a massive Sky Attack critical hit, and Pidgeot then mirror moves a Hyper Beam, both of which are very bad. With 3 badge boosts, we'll have just enough bulk while at full health to survive a Hydro Pump, but not if we take a ton of unnecessary damage. Okay, so once the Pidgeot goes down, we Hyper Beam Alakazam straight into the Shadow Realm, and then Rhydon comes out. We use Wing Attack to purposefully fish for Leers and Tail Whips to get extra badge boost, because for some reason, Rhydon has both Leer and Tail Whip? Greatest trainer Jurassic, yeah. That's what I meant to say. We get a bunch of defense drops, but even with all those extra badge boosts, Wing Attack isn't able to 1-hit KO the Exeggutor. A Hyper Beam would have knocked it out, but I didn't want to risk a miss. Thanks to the defense drops, Barrage does a disturbing amount of damage for a resisted move, and then it all comes down to the chonky Toidle. We're at such low health that we have no shot of surviving either Hydro Pump or Blizzard, but Bubs' greatest enemy, as always, is his brain. He spams Withdraw thinking that it's super effective, and then whiffs 2 attacks during our recharge turn, letting us win the battle. And with that, the challenge is over. Aerodactyl is such a strange Pokemon. It's got great attack and speed, but really disappointing bulk and special. It's a total glass cannon, but with a very limited moveset, which doesn't help when you can't really take a hit. In summation, Aerodactyl would be Crater if only it were Meteor. Alright, well as always, I want to thank you for making it to the end of this video. These videos are a lot of fun, but also a lot of work, so I really do appreciate it. There's a playlist on my channel where you can find the rest of my Pokemon Challenge videos if you want to check those out as well. And if you like this kind of content and want to see more, be sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you'll know right away the next time one of these episodes is uploaded. And let me know in the comments what other Pokemon you want to see, and I'll probably do it. Next week, we're heading back to Johto to find out if I can beat Pokemon Crystal using only one Apom. Anyways, until next time,